Like for me, really, I still try to stick with the basics, even with professional athletes or general population. Like you don't need a ton of bands and like moving your body completely different directions all the time. It's fun to do that, but ultimately it's like from a PRI standpoint, from Posture Restoration Institute standpoint, they use the example of you thinking of the body like a snowman, right? So you have your base, you have your middle, and you have your head, right? They should be able to move together, but they should also be able to move individually. And so that's like a concept that I'll explain to my clients with like a lateral hip shift of like a split squat or something, but also of like for them, if they're doing some kind of a chop, for example, for their abs, like general population can benefit just as much as a professional golfer from a chop. And so for them, it's like instead of moving their head when they chop of like, okay, let's have you keep your head relaxed. Just let the space between your belt buckle and your shoulders move. And let's see how that works. Because ultimately it's like when you walk, if I'm going to walk down the hallway, I don't walk like a refrigerator, right? My hips go forward and back. My rib cage goes forward and back. Your arm swings with the opposing leg naturally. And so those are kind of basic things. But from a PRI scope, the other big thing that I'll tell them is that when your body is like a snowman, that's the easiest way for them to create pressure and stay safe with loading your spine, right? So if my rib cage is flared and my chest is super far out, and then my back is now extended, I just tell them of like, think of your discs are starting to do this the further you bring your chest out. And now if you're loading, say like a squat, and you're doing this, and you have direct force coming down on your discs that look like this, I can just give them that example exactly how I just said it, and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that. So what should I do instead?
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like, okay, let's just help you find the top part of your hamstrings and the bottom part of your butt, right? That's the part that helps tilt this pelvis posteriorly. But then it's like, okay, well, you don't want to look like a dog taking a shit. So that's like, where's
split the difference?
Where's the middle ground, right? And so that's where that's the coaching cues of like, okay, let's get you to slightly reach your elbows forward without losing height in your skeleton, right? So now I'm getting the rib cage to draw back without flexing the rest of my spine. And without telling them that, it's like, oh, okay, I actually feel my abs turn on now. Perfect. Hold that. Take a brace. Let's start squatting.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't have to be more complicated than people kind of perceive it to be.
Yeah. But yeah, and that beautiful job answering my question, because my question was going to be why should people care about those things?
Yeah.
Like versus just like getting stronger, you know, but that was beautifully explained. So when you're communicating these complex ideas, you just said it doesn't have to be so complex.
Yeah.
But you can only like find that kind of simplicity when you understand it as a coach. Right. So that's again, that's kind of like another point of sales as a coach, right? You just said it's kind of a sales job.
Yeah.
So many people think that they can just walk into the gym and do fitness, even though they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
You just said it doesn't have to be so complex, but the only way you can get to that simplicity is if you understand the complexities enough to assimilate them back into the simplicity that we're looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, someone define that as like that's true genius to be able to take.
You're a genius.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, I heard that described because that's something I would say of like a Andrew Huberman is like this dude is the most intellectual guy like I would on the planet, let's say, and he's able to take things that are relatable to the common man, like you know what I mean, and you can say that like, well, if you've truly been there and you've done it and you've learned that thing, then you should be able to break it down so that everybody can understand it. So, yeah, kind of, I don't know.
Communicating it to, if you can't like teach it to a third grader, then
what's it worth?
Then you don't understand it as well as you think you. Like,
sure.
Yeah,
dude.
Exactly.
And even with some of my professional athletes, I have to talk to them like I'm talking to a third grader. I'm like, man.
Yeah. Which is interesting because it's a professional athlete. You'd think that they're like...
No, because they want you to be the thinker for them.
100%. Yeah. That's the big thing is like the similarity, the commonality amongst soldiers in the military and professional athletes is that they both have people constantly telling them what to do, where they need to go, what they need to be doing. Right? With the military, it's like you have formation at 6, you have PT from 6:30 to 8, you have chow from 8:30 to whatever, 10, and then you start your day and then you go home and then you're supposed to be in bed. Like they never think for themselves. And so and I'm not saying that professional athletes are dumb, but it's like they have
no, they just don't want to be on. It's like, yeah.
It's like they have physical therapists, they have a nutritionist, they have their pitching coach, their general manager, their head, like all of these different coaches.
Which that sounds like the freaking dream, if we're being honest here.
I mean, it's pretty sick. Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's fun though, man. I really enjoy getting to convey those complex ideas to clients, because then you said this in actually one of the podcasts that when I had you on mine, of like, you just want to give people these like small gold nuggets to where they want to come back and ask more questions, because you don't want to like tell them all about PRI right away of like, this is what neutrality is, this is what you need to find hamstrings, you need to find internal, of like, well, if you can put your feet against the wall and you can tilt your tailbone up without your back coming off, you're going to be in a really good spot right off the bat. So now let's have you hold that position. Let's have you breathe in that position. Like, well, why am I just breathing? It's like, well, your nervous system assimilates, or your nervous system uses breath to compare of like comfort, right? So think of like, if you get scared, are you breathing comfortably? Like, no, you tense up, everything compresses, and then you get shortness of breath. And it's the same thing of like, if you're trying to like step under something that you can't get underneath comfortably, your body tenses up and you're breathing, right? I'm sure both of you guys have experienced this with coaching, but like with a new client, and they're just like bench pressing and their face gets super red. I'm like, did you breathe that entire set or no? And they're like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to breathe. And it's like,
I'm not even thinking about it.
People that are like new to exercise that are like, whoa, what do I do now? Like, what do I do with my hands? And it's like, so it's the same concept of like, okay, feel your feet against the wall. You feel them? Good. Okay, let's pull softly against the wall. Do you feel the backs of your legs? You're like, yeah, a little bit. And it's like, okay, cool. So now just put your hands on your stomach, close your eyes, just breathe for 5 minutes, like for 5 breaths, full inhale, full exhale. Cause that'll be another key that I'll see with my clients if they're just like, and that's all I see is like, oh man, we got some work to do. Because if that's the biggest breath they can take, how are you going to create pressure? How are you going to be able to stabilize and support your spine if you want to back squat 200 pounds, right? It's like anytime you lay on your back, your stomach caves in and your chest goes up and you can't breathe without opening your mouth. It's like, how would you load that body? And so, again, now how do I get that concept into someone that, okay, if you want to get stronger, let's do this very basic thing. You can't do it very well. So it's like, this is part of my foundation. If you want to work with me, let's make sure that we can master this. I'm not saying I won't get you to squat with a barbell. I'm just saying that there's steps to getting there to get you safely squatting consistently. Like, I don't want you to just hit 315, be in pain for 3 months and then not see me for a while. Sure. Because now you're probably not going to want to come back, even though you hit the goal that initially you told me you wanted to come in for.
Yes. This guy said he wasn't good at sales, but I'm sure he's learned this over his trajectory that he shared with us. Is like, that is sales. Like, like you probably don't even have a conversation with anybody at this point because of how much feedback and direction and success you're able to give the people you're working with now because of what you know and where you've been. Like, that alone is selling itself. Like, I don't know if you've experienced that to this point, but I'm like, dude, my clients are going to listen to Nathan and be like, where are you located again? I'm just kidding.
No, not at all, man.
No, same team, baby. Same team.
Absolutely.
But yeah, dude, I mean, that's it. It's like when you can show people like those golden nuggets that they've never thought about before, or that cue that they've never heard before. Like, you shared so many, even just intricate, like the zipper to the left hip, or the stuff that is, oh, I can connect with that, and oh, that makes sense now, and now I feel this different way, and automatically that gives you credibility to that person and to that next person potentially. So yeah, hats off to you, man. That's awesome.